Hi friends, it's Unicorn and today it's another exciting book haul. I want to talk about all the books I accumulated physically after my last book haul in May. And also if you have watched that video, you may remember that I said I'll read 2 books before I buy one, and naturally I'm asking you nicely to forget about it. And also, I found myself dropping in this loophole that I keep buying ebooks since I don't see them physically, so somehow I can justify buying them, which is not a habit that I'm proud of. But as my friend Mel used to say, there's no booktube police coming at my door. So let's move on and talk about the books that I got. First of all, I have The Green and Pleasant Land by Aisha Malik. This book I thought I had featured on my last book haul, but turned out I didn't. And this book was highly recommended by Alice from the Book Castle. She can get me hyped in any books in a snap, so I got this one. This book talks about a man got summoned to her dying mother's bed, and his mom reminded that he's a Muslim and instructed him to build a mosque in his village. But when he goes back to the village and try to communicate with the conservative people trying to build this mosque, this is where the trouble comes in. And I have heard this book is wholesome, it's captivated, it's like community focused and all the good things. And thinking about it, I might featured this one in one of my TBRs, but clearly, didn't read it. The second book I got here is The Story of Sahara by Sam Mao, translated by Mike Fu. This is the translation of my favorite writer's work. She is my favorite writer of my life. She's the person who enlightened me into the literature world. She's the person who showed me there's a big wide world out there for me to explore. And also this is my favorite work of hers. I have wanting a English translation of this book ever since I started to booktubing because I want to introduce it to you guys. So you can imagine how happy and joyful I was when I found out that the English translation was indeed published last year, and I just have to get it. Next up is another translation of one of my favorite writers' work. It is Winter Pasture by Li Zhen, translated by Jack Hargrave and Yan Yan. I think this book is also in one of my TBRs, but it's talking about Li Zhen's journey going with Hazara herders in China to experience how they migrate during cold winter and how they manage all their animals as well. As a Han person, Li Zhen wasn't interested by Hazara herders at first, but she insisted to go, and also she was helping, so she journaled all her experience down in this book. And this book is funny, it's eye-opened, it's so beautifully written, and it is another book that I was surprisingly happy to find an English translation copy. Next, I have Hotel Silence by Ujulf Ava Olafsdotter. This is the book I got for the Nordic book club that I'm in, which is a book club that hosted by the Scandinavian school where I learned my Norwegian from, and this is the book for Iceland. It's talking about a man whose world has been collapsed. His wife left her, his mother is going into a deeper dementia. His daughter is not the person that he thought she was. So the man decided to go to a war zone where Hotel Silence is located and ended out. But upon arrival, he found that there's more things needs his attention. This is actually the winner of 1 year's Icelandic Literary Prize, I believe. Yes, it sounds like the journey of people getting out of a deep depression. I am a little bit worried about if I will be triggered by this book, but it sounds very hopeful and I'm looking forward to reading it. Next up, I got my most anticipated release of the year. It is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I love Sally Rooney. I raved about normal people for so long, and I also enjoyed Conversation with Friends. And this book also came out at September 7th, which is a very special date for me, and I pre-ordered it. I was so excited to get it, and I have since avoided all the potential spoilers or the reviews of this book, but I have not read it yet. Consider how excited I was about the book and how I pre-ordered it. I feel like I should read it soon, so we're gonna fix that. Following, I have 2 books that is actually one book. I have this Distant Sunflower Field by Li Zhen, translated into this English version by Christopher Pin, and also get the Chinese version of it. This is 遥远的向日葵地. This is Li Juan's essay collection talking about her experiences living and planting sunflowers in one piece of land in a desert when she and her family was hoping to live there for long term. I love Li Juan's essay. As I said before, I don't really know how I didn't put all the Li Juan's books together, but they're so good. So I got them both because I want to introduce this book to you. Next up, I got 2 books for the reading project from and about Asia for the month of Myanmar. The books about Saudi Arabia, they're still on the way, so they don't really count. First is From the Land of Green Ghosts by Pascal Cousy. This is the memoir of the author who is a student rebel during the Great Insurrection in 1988. He had to flee the country, and this book was written after he immigrated to England. This book is about his hometown, a Burmese Hui tribe that was torn by civil war and also forgotten by the Western world. Following, we have First, They Erased Our Name by Habib Rahman with Sophie Anzel and translated by Andrea Rees. This is a memoir. The author was born in a small village in western Burma, and after 3 years of his birth, the military government declared that his people is not one of the 135 official ethnic groups in Myanmar, leaving his people stateless in their own country. And since then, millions of Rohingya, which is the author's ethnic group was called, had to flee the country, and things got worse after the reinforced ethnic group cleansing. This book sounds so heartbreaking, but yet so important to read. Following, I have 3 books that I already featured on my October TBR. First one being The Flames of Albion by Jean Menzies, who is Jean from Jean Bookish Thoughts. And this is a fantasy novel talking about a young scholar accidentally awakened a dragon and also welcoming the surprising outcomes that coming at her. And this book sounds delightful, plot-driven, and celebrates queer identity. It's just such a fantastic idea, and I just have to get it. And then we have The Mercies by Karen Millwood Hargrave. This is a historical fiction set in the 1617 in Norway, talking about a fishing village when all the men got wiped out by a fishing disaster, and the women had to survive with grief. And 3 years later, a sinister man with his wife came at this village. His wife is very scared of her husband. However, this is the first place where the wife of the sinister man first saw independent, strong woman. And this book just tickled so many of my buzzwords as Norway, historical fiction, independent women, all of that. Next up is a total cover by It Is Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James. I mean, look at this cover. As I already said in my TBR video, I cannot stop thinking about this cover ever since I saw it the first time on BookTube. It has been 4 or 5 months. I just think about it like every so often. I have to get it. This is a fantasy novel talking about a young hunter investigating the mysterious disappearance of a boy 3 years ago. And the hunter has a group of helpers, including this man-animal shape-shifting leopard. And this book is says heavily inspired by African history and mythology, and I am heavily inspired by this cover. I'm just so happy I got it. Last book in this book haul is Hamilton the Revolution. I finally pulled the trigger to buy this book. Some of you may know that I am obsessed with the musical Hamilton. The first time I saw the Hamilton on stage, I was shocked. I think it's a masterpiece. From the lyric to the music to the design to the performance, every aspect of it is perfect. And no lie, I think it's the art that's worth living for, and also it put me from my deep depressed period a couple of times. I got the biography of Hamilton after first time I watched the show, but I didn't get this one. This is like a journal of the creation of the show. But last month, since Hamilton has returned to stage ever since like the first time since COVID, I went to watch it again, and I have to get this book. Initially, I was thinking maybe this book will include some historical facts about how the costumes are designed or something like that, but it's actually not. It's a journal of how they create and write Hamilton. And by they, I mean Lin-Manuel Miranda. And although it's different from what I thought, I still adore this book, and it is so nice to see how the show was created. And that's all the books that I have for this book haul. I'm actually sure there will be other more physical books here and there that I forgot to include in this haul. I am a sucker for impulse buy when it comes to books, and also I'm worst at keeping track. But I'm not sorry for that, all for more books to read. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to say hi in the comment section down below and let me know what books did you buy recently and what book are you looking forward to. I hope you happy reading, stay healthy. I'll see you in my next bookish video. Bye!